Flonger arrives at night in a wasteland outside the city to dig up old remains. Suddenly, the excavation site seems to come to life, and the old man throws back a few meters. Unbending, Flonger feels like a completely different person and returns to the house. A few days later, Kelly walks into the store for noodles in a plastic cup. Already at the exit, the guy meets his classmate Dominique, with whom he is in love, but with whom the guy did not dare to confess his feelings. Opening a cup of noodles on the street, Kelly throws out the contents and eats the package itself. This is noticed by an unpleasant company led by Nelson, and the guys do not miss the opportunity to mock the eccentric, calling him trash and sending him to the trash can. Dominique tries to stand up for her friend, and he, in turn, does not offend the girl. This whole story angers the hooligans even more, who leave only when the seller leaves the store. On nerves, Kelly eats even more plastic. Suffering from an eating disorder, the guy can't pull himself together, and the disease is aggravated by stress. In addition to plastic cups, erasers from pencils are used. All this greatly amuses the young man's peers and makes him a real outcast. Arriving home, Dominique tells her mother about what happened to Kelly, but even an adult woman does not miss the opportunity to laugh at the guy, considering him crazy. This hurts the girl, because she and Kelly were good friends growing up. At the same time, somewhere in the mountains, the leader of one of the Indian tribes, the Red Deer, is trying to find the power that has left the tribe. Dr. Fitzgerald visits a guy who is getting worse from indigestion. Bernice is trying to figure out what to do to heal her son from a strange illness, but so far no one can help them with this. Flonger gathers people around him, doing healing. At first glance, the old man seems to be a charlatan, but when the sick are healed in his hands, it becomes clear that the old man really works miracles. After one of the sessions, the Red Deer approaches him, demanding the return of the healing power and intimidating the old man that his practice will end in a disaster. But Flonger sends a red-faced man, especially since he is very much expected at Kelly's house. After examining the guy, Flonger begins the ritual, but he suddenly becomes ill. After resting in the toilet room, he tries to start the procedure again, but this time the old man finally loses his strength and falls to the floor. The old man is loaded into the ambulance covered with a sheet, and the sheriff at this time plans to interview Bernice and her son. The woman tells the cop about the burn that the healer left on Kelly, but it turns out that there is no longer a trace of it. The next day, Kelly feels great and goes out to fix his bike. Having accidentally cut his finger, the guy sees how the cut is tightened right before his eyes. He tries to tell his mother about this, but Bernice takes the words about healing metaphorically and walks away smiling. The only thing that pleases her is the appetite of her son, who finally eats human food with pleasure and not garbage. The Indian appears near the house, but for now he is just waiting. For the first time in a long while, Kelly looks and feels great. This is noticed even by Dominique, meeting him in the center. But not only the girl notices Kelly. Nelson's brother immediately appears, who wants to crack down on the guy for flirting with Dominique, but something strange happens. His blows to Kelly hurt only Reed himself. In the evening at home, Kelly happily informs his mother that he finally got a job, but the Masons cannot discuss the great news. Nelson and Reed's father, a local coach, knocks on the house. He learned about what happened to the younger one and would like to clarify the situation. At the same time, the coach admits that he knew that his sons were spreading rot on Kelly, but in his opinion, this should not be interfered with. Hearing such reasoning, Bernice puts the man out the door, but his son is interested in the incident. Kelly shows her his new abilities. Everyone who tries to hurt him suffers themselves, and the young man does not feel anything. Bernice is very happy for her son, but she asks the son not to spread the news, so that the guy does not become a victim of experiments and persecution. At school, Kelly discovers another superpower. In class, he imagines himself with Dominique and her friend, and these fantasies are passed on to the girls. The whole trinity cannot listen to the teacher, flying away from pleasure. A large school company gathers on the beach in the evening to hang out. Kelly also comes to the beach, hoping to talk to Dominique, but Nelson's company attacks him again. This time, the coach is nearby and separates the hooligans, but he warns the eccentric that his secret will be discovered. Kelly drives home without talking to his girlfriend, but the company is not ready to let him go easily. By car, the hooligans are catching up with the bike, planning to knock Kelly down. In the end, everything works out, and if not for Kelly's abilities, only a pile of rubble would have remained of him. And so, the guy remained alive, and even the cuts on him healed instantly. But Brad, who was driving, went to another world. Dominique arrives first, and she already calls the police and Kelly's mother. The girl promises her friend that she will not tell anyone about his secret, but the sheriff himself understands that something is wrong. Red Deer comes to Plunger's grave and checks the ground. The Indian understands that the old man managed to convey his gift to someone else. Dominique stays in school with Kelly, supporting her body, while Nelson and his guys are going to somehow get revenge on the invincible weakling. During one of the night shifts, an old Indian waits for Kelly at the pizzeria. He asks him about Plunger, but the guy leaves without an answer. Kelly tells his mother that Dominique finally agreed to go on a date with him. But the woman cannot be happy for her son because of a severe headache. The guy immediately jumps into the car to go for aspirin, not knowing that Nelson and his friends are guarding near the house. Deciding to spoil the opponent's life, the hooligans hook the Mason's trailer to the car and pull it off the supports, because of which the gas hose breaks inside. Bernice tries to get out, but all the doors are locked. The fallen lamp provokes an explosion. Returning home, Kelly runs into a burning trailer, but he fails to save his mother. The burns on Kelly heal very quickly, and the doctor intends to discharge him in a day. Sheriff Adler, who was on duty near the guy, intends to return for him in the morning, but at the exit he is stopped by the Red Deer. Knowing that the cop himself is an Indian, the old man tells him about the youngster's abilities that do not belong to him, but Adler asks his fellow tribemen to stay away from Kelly. After burying his mother, the guy goes to Plunger's grave. Dominique follows him, and supporting Kelly, she asks him not to move. For the first time, the couple have a kiss, which gives the young man strength. Noticing grass on the old man's grave, being alone, Kelly tastes it, and he feels bad. Dominique's friend sees this from behind the bushes. After finishing the ceremony, Kelly is picked up by the sheriff to be taken to the shelter. But on the way, Nelson catches up with the cop's car and together with his friends, mugs the guy through the windows, hinting that they are related to the explosion. Jumping out of the car on the move, Kelly gives chase and finds company on the beach. He listens to their conversations for a long time and is convinced that these guys are to blame for the death of Bernice. Taking Tucker's t-shirt, Kelly tightens it around his neck and the bully drowns at that moment. The guys assure the cops that Earn is to blame, but the sheriff sees no evidence of a crime. Kelly comes to Dominique and invites her for a walk so he can tell her everything. The girl asks her friend not to take revenge, but simply to force the hooligans to confess to the crime. But the next day at school, Kelly gets into a fight in class. Unable to withstand the impudence of the Earn, Tony pours acid on him, but nothing happens to the guy. The offender himself dies in front of everyone. Everyone blames Kelly for what happened, but the guy does not understand what his fault is, because Nelson and his team themselves are constantly attacking. In the evening, Nelson gets into Sarah's car, and the girl tells him about what she saw at the cemetery. The guy understands that this is the way out, and the couple go to the cemetery for the miracle glass. Nelson and Reed's father asks his son to remove the bushes from the bathroom and warns the guy that in the morning they are going to the field so that they no longer loiter around. The sheriff understands what the Indian told him about and gives the go-ahead for the exhumation of Plunger. He also asks the coach to get the guys off the field, warning them that they don't know what they're dealing with. But Whitcomb believes that the cop is exaggerating and Kelly has no power. After examining Nelson's car, Adler finds the chain and realizes that the guy was right. As he returns to the athletes, Kelly gets into the car and finds the enemy's personal effects. Kelly arrives at the field with a drill, but Nelson has already armed himself with a bottle of herb infusion. He does not have time to use it right away, as the urn injures his legs, transferring all the sensations to the criminal. Dominique tries to calm her friend down by distracting him and letting the coach take control. Just at that moment, Nelson manages to dose Kelly with a solution. The coach snatches the guy from the sheriff and, hoping to take advantage of the fact that the guy is weak, puts the barrel to his head. But even the infusion does not save the old man from a backlash. Kelly is left with a small scratch, and the coach himself falls to the ground. The girl again reproaches her friend, believing that he is to blame for the deaths of so many people. But Kelly does not understand why no one sees that he has been harassed for many years and eventually was deprived of the dearest person. The sheriff persuades the guy to go to the Indian and give up his power, but on the spot it turns out that Red Deer wants to take it for himself and get rid of the guy. Dominique, all this time, remains next to a friend, promising to support him. The cops open fire and Kelly and his girlfriend fly off to the grave, where the girl becomes very ill. Realizing that power is evil, the guy decides to leave it underground with him. But on the way to the morgue, Dominique's body suddenly comes to life, and all of her wounds heal. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.